Good evening to you. Thanks so much for being on the show, Rina. Just explain to the listeners this standoff and continuing pressure on Venezuela by the American president. What's it all about and what's going on underneath it?
Well, underneath all this is a desire for regime change. In essence, what we know about Trump at this point is that he desires that regime change and will do anything to pursue it. This military action essentially puts the U.S. at the foreground of the fight for what we consider to be democratic ideals. And this matches up a great deal with what the Biden administration did as well. But of course, they didn't get time to do it. In looking at this most recent action, I'm not at all surprised. In fact, I expect more. I do think there will be some way for this administration, though, to be held accountable, and probably through Congress.
Just explain, look, what the White House spokeswoman Anna Kelly has said about this tanker, falsely flagged vessel operating as part of Venezuelan shadow fleet to traffic stolen oil and to fund a narco-terrorist regime. That was written on X.
Right. Look, at the end of the day, this is about justification, right? That's what the world wants to know. How justified is the U.S. about choking off oil revenue that funds that narco-terrorist regime? You know, what we're talking about here is drug trafficking, election theft, and human rights abuses that have been documented for years. And the seizures that target the shadow fleet, those shadow fleet tankers evade sanctions that are, you know, this is often linked to Iran or Russia. I think what I have heard from the mouth of Secretary Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, is that Maduro's economy is tanking. Exports are plummeting, which is the point. Starve the regime, slush fund without full invasion. So again, back to the point of justification, it's justified as enforcement of existing sanctions, not random aggression.
And what does this mean then, essentially? I mean, for the Western world, about how far could this go? I mean, I understand that there's been a suggestion that there could be land attacks.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure as yet, because I know critics are calling it active war, like Democrat Congressman Representative Joaquin Castro. But look, I think the Republican argument here also is that this is calibrated. These are seizures based on warrants or intel, not blanket quarantine. And Congress, again, as I mentioned, could push back. I believe. I made my career on Capitol Hill. Congress should push back. But Trump is betting on prerogative here. Now, if you want to look at kind of the bigger picture of Trump and peace, this is brinksmanship to force a deal, not endless war. Remember, Trump was elected saying that he would end war, not put us into endless wars. And so what this really echoes is Trump's North Korea style, which is max pressure, then negotiate. And again, the goal here is Maduro returning sort of quote unquote stolen U.S. assets, oil fields, and the goal is to have Maduro step down or face collapse.
That's the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro you're talking about. There's been a ramped up military presence, hasn't there, from the US in that region? More than 24 military strikes on vessels in the Pacific Ocean, the Caribbean Sea. Apparently about 100 people have been killed. I think Venezuela said that they're going to report these actions to the United Nations Security Council. What will that mean?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you our Secretary of Defense, he goes by Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is front and center here. He is defending the boardings of these, and he's vowing to continue until assets are returned. So, again, you've got a lot of people inside Washington framing it as peace through strength. We love that phrase around here. It's been tossed around dozens of times just in the past 2 days. But again, tying this whole thing into counter narco ops is the big thing that we see our Secretary of Defense doing. And so with his posture, he wants sustained military posturing in that region. He wants more seizures. He doesn't want to back down because this is Trump 2.0. It's aggressive, but it is deal-oriented if Maduro blinks.
And is there general public support among the American people for President Donald Trump's stance against Venezuela?
Well, I haven't seen very good public polling on this, to be frank. In general, what we Americans tend to like, coast to coast, across various demographics, is a strong action on what we believe are threats at our border. And if you listen closely to the Trump administration every day of the week, they continue to actually make the case that this is how drugs are flowing into our country. And this is how China is also trying to choke us as well by getting with these narco-terrorist folks. So that is one line. But I don't think the average American understands the right here, right now, which really risks escalation. That's something I'm quite nervous about because Venezuela's Navy is escorting tankers with potential clashes here. I mean, that again could go from land to sea. And what I think with Trump signaling that he's open to talks if Maduro folds, anything is possible. And so I think right now a lot of us are looking at we're trying to watch for back channels here and not seeing much. But I will say this. The average American isn't fully keyed in. Right now, this is high-wire geopolitics. It's Trump resetting the board in Latin America, and it could force Maduro out, and it could bring stability. Or it could spark real conflict, as I just alluded to. So the next few days with the third tanker in play will just tell us a lot.
And the two conflicts that I think the American public and the whole world is deeply aware of is Ukraine and Gaza, of course. And it's been revealed today that our Prime Minister here, Sir Keir Starmer, has spoken with Donald Trump today about both Ukraine and Gaza. Highly contentious, of course. How do you view, Rena, the UK-US relationship is holding up in spite of some significant differences in the stance on these two conflicts?
Well, look, this is a really tough moment because it was just, I think, a few days ago. It's hard to keep track of time with President Trump. He is fast and furious in the second term. I mean, we're just 11 months in, and it's just been the amount of news coming out of this White House is really it's a lot to absorb. So I'll just say a few days ago it was Trump slamming European leaders. And that it wasn't good for those of us that have long felt that the relationship, the alliance between the United States and the UK is important. I think looking at things right now, as of today, things are fluid. Trump is pushing hard for quick deals in both those theaters, Ukraine and Gaza. But the UK under Starmer, from what I see it, is holding a more principled line. And it just makes this relationship, again, tested. It's enduring, but it's tested. And it's a special relationship to talk about. It's still rock solid of intelligence sharing, defense, where we, talk about nuclear ties, and even recent deals like the tech prosperity deal, though it was paused over some trade spats. I think this is all kind of very interesting because Trump and Starmer have a warm rapport. They had state visit in September. They have regular calls, including a pre-Christmas one, like you just mentioned, this one on Ukraine and Gaza. But the tensions exist because Trump's America First tariffs, Ukraine pressure, and Gaza differences really create friction. And the UK is pushing back on some American moves, while keeping channels open. It's transactional now more than sentimental, but the bond still holds. Shared values, history, and mutual security needs make it so.
Rena Shah, thank you so much. Geopolitical advisor and strategist based in Washington, D.C.